Welcome back, everybody, to Subverted Subversions, episode 20. I'm Jesse Larkins, the author of Soap Scum, and I'm back today with my esteemed co host, my gracious friend, the king of cringe himself. How's it going, man?
Hey, how's it going? I just wrote a new poem. It goes, and that's it. Anyway, moving
I am a white guy.
on.
Yes, we are back. We're here to reclaim the dignity of white male artists. We're joined today. We got a very special guest today. We've got a guy who dropped fucking like 3 books this year. He is the author of the ECHOLALIA review, 13.3, the novels FEMOID and Pound Flesh out through McBussy Publishing. We're joined today by Aaron Barry / Jasper Ceylon. How's it going, man?
Hey, yeah, glad to be here. And, great poem, by the way. As a fellow white male poet, I can sign off on that.
Let's go.
We
Pure genius.
appreciate it.
Took me 20 years, my entire like colonialized past lifetime, 3 grandparents, they distill power upon me. So,
Our pronouns are white guy.
what?
Very nice, yeah, yeah. That's gonna fly. That's coming back now, I think, actually. I think now that everyone's kind of tired of like what a quote unquote wokeness and stuff, I think you can start doing that shit again and people will actually find it funny. Like,
Yeah. Are
it's a
are are they accepting white guys again in poetry, or is it still fucked?
I mean, it's still fucked, yeah. Like,
Okay.
well, let's be honest. Like,
We're
it's
still a
just
ways from that.
yeah, we're like 10% of the way there. But I think just like with everything that goes on for a long time, people just want something new. And I can see it. I see the seeds of like us coming back into the poetry fold. So I'm excited for it.
Hell yeah, dude. I mean, you wanted to come on, I guess, I don't know if it was specifically, but like to talk about the poetry industry in general, or I guess the milieu wokeness and that stuff, kind of how the scene has gotten, and I guess hopefully, yeah, where it's going. I mean, I guess your story was really interesting when you first popped off. It was because like you pretended to be a black woman. For all the people who don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I can give people like like for people who aren't aware, I'll give them like a really quick like rundown of all that shit. And everyone associates me with like Adele Nwankwo now, and they all think like, because of that one headline from the Free Press that most of it was just me pretending to be a black woman. But I will have you know, I was also an indigenous healer. Um, I was a quadraracial dinosaur. I was a lot of things for Echolalia, but Dell got the most publications, and that's why everyone thinks that I'm, a black woman. But um, yeah, so basically, when I was starting out as a free verse poet and really getting going, I kept checking through all these magazines I wanted to submit to, and almost everyone had some sort of statement about, some fidelity to this or that community or, championing the rights of marginalized this or that. And, there's nothing exactly wrong with that. But when everyone's doing it, it's just so fucking tedious. And you just can't, like, you just know basically you're being actively excluded from these publications if you're of our identity.
Mhm.
And I just like, I couldn't help but notice how frequently this shit showed up. So I just thought, well, I really like writing poetry. I like writing in general. Like I've basically chosen to give my life to this. But if if I'm working against these odds, I don't really have many prospects. I was completely broke at the time, just like living like an absolute bum. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm never gonna be able to make it out of this if I continue with this, like, as what I want to be my primary profession eventually. So I'm like, all right, well, they kind of forced my hand here. Like, it's time people kind of took notice of how bad things have gotten in the industry. So I faked a bunch of personas. I used the Grievance Studies affair and the Michael Derrick Hudson controversy and the Ern Malley hoax and all that as kind of inspiration. And yeah, I started these personas, BH Fine and all that kind of stuff, and I started sending out these absolute junk poems to these magazines to see if they would take them, to see if it was more about identity than the quality of the work. And I really didn't expect some of these to get picked up, but they did. The first Adele one that you sent me the screen cap of. The
Oh yeah, dude, that is God. I actually like wrote that one. I wrote like a big portion of that one down because that's almost worth reading out loud. Because I mean, dude, yeah, what a just a true gut punch of comedy gold because of how distinct it was and how pointed the criticism was. And yeah. Do you mind if I just kind of like say like read the opening of that real quick?
yeah, go for it.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
I mean, it literally. Yeah. Okay. So how would you pronounce? Yeah, Adele Nwankwo. Like I don't even
Yeah.
know. The title of the poem is Ya Ya Gaha, and it opens with a fucking Toni Morrison quote. Navigating a white male world was not threatening. It wasn't even interesting. I was more interesting than they were. I knew more than they did, and I wasn't afraid to show it. And then it goes, Split grit stit rit me in for most stick. And match one find me as white dick. It's just like the immediate clash of being like, I know more than the white man, and then just like this totally illiterate fucking, fucking gibberish. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I wrote that I was living with my then girlfriend and she went to work or something and I had work later that day and I just had nothing to do. So I went outside, I sat on one of these like concrete partitions and I was just kind of like watching the cars go by and all this sort of stuff. And I had the idea to start writing these kind of junky things, but I really didn't know where to start. And she and I used to joke a lot about how told this story on other in other venues, but we used to joke about how people just thought because she was like half black that she was like just like into voodoo magic and like all this sort of nonsense. Like, and I'm like, I'm gonna use that. I'm just gonna go for like what they think she like what her inner monologue is or something
Right.
like that. And so I just came up with the worst fucking like real gibberish I could
Yeah.
think of. Oh my god, yeah. I wrote it and I'm
Oh,
like, this is so bad it's gonna work. Like this is so fucking awful. It has to work. It's kind of like iambic pentameter. It's like really bad Creole iambic pentameter. I mentioned Shakespeare in there. It's it's supposed to be like a horrible sonnet in Creole and just like completely corrupted and destroyed.
hmm Did that one actually win that award that it said, or was that just like a funny uh like fictive additive to the poem?
Yeah, that part was a fictive additive. It was the Shakespeare's Cum Slut one that was nominated there, and then I got
Oh,
another. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'll tell you guys this. Um, I got another award nomination after the publication of
Let's go.
Echo. Like it got two, and the second one didn't even get mentioned in any articles. So yeah, I'm
holy
waiting
shit.
on that. Yeah, I'd actually win.
It really is that easy. You just show up with the right identity, and people just start giving you awards.
Straight up, yeah. I couldn't fucking believe it. I'm like, wait, I got another nomination for this. Like, and the one they nominated is just. Well, I don't want to spoil it because I'm like this
Sure.
one's going like under the radar in case I actually place. But
Oh, so this is
yeah,
current shit. Oh, damn.
yeah, this is ongoing. Like I'm in the running.
This is insane.
I
Yeah.
can't believe it.
I mean,
I,
and that's what you proved. You proved that they value identity. That's like their number one, merit is identity. And they value that over, any actual like creativity.
Yeah,
oh, undoubtedly.
I'm curious. Are like most of the editors like white, and you're kind of like scaring them into like, or they're like, oh, you have the juju, or is it like other like POC editors that are like, oh, another one of our brethren, we gotta get him in.
It was kind of a mix of both, actually. Like,
Oh.
at least for my experiences with the Echo pieces, like there are a lot of white editors who want to be like down with the cause and whatever, so they'll fool themselves into kind of taking these pieces even if they don't fully understand them. Like all you have to do as a submitter is go like you just put in like one sentence of context, try to explain it to them, and they'll go, "Oh yeah, yeah, no, I see it." It's like this emperor has no clothes kind of scenario with them. And I mean, like, they're not all bad. Like, I come on here, like, it's really easy to make fun of like the editors that I dealt with and stuff, but like the poetry world has some like fantastic editors in it.
Mm.
It's just they for a while there they were kind of like under a spell. Um, and so like the BIPOC editors I would have dealt with, they're kind of under a similar spell, but from a different sort of end of things. Like they just feel very strongly about these causes because they have like a personal connection to them. So if you kind of like show solidarity and stuff, they just look more favorably upon your work, but they might even be more critical of it.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
see that.
So yeah, I don't know. It was very weird, honestly. Like just the range of experiences I had, like communicating with these editors. I haven't released many of the emails or anything like that, but man, I saw some weird shit.
Yeah, you were saying in the one section where you kind of break down how each one, like the sort of like the mini story behind how each one got submitted and made or whatever. I forget which one, like the context it was for, but you were kind of explaining that sometimes you would get like a little bit of like minor pushback on certain, like, pretty obvious transgressive elements, but then you would have to kind of you'd kind of like work it from like a different like woke angle that they had never like considered. Like you like positioned yourself from a place of authority, like on the hierarchy of victimhood. You place yourself, from being able to speak from a place of true authority. So anytime there was any like actual pushback, you were able to just kind of flip the wording and be like, no, actually this is like representative of like my authentic experience, and they would just roll with it.
Oh, they'll fold easily, yeah. Like not many of them had any sort of suspicions really, but it's more, I guess, like if you want to cover your bases and just like get out in front of potential pushback, you can just sort of, yeah, it's all about framing. It's just how you submit something, what persona you are. Like you can be quite devious about it if if you really want to. There's no limit. It's really just how sort of like crafty you want to be with this stuff. But yeah, I mean, sometimes they might ask some questions or whatever. But largely, I found that they there was just a complete lack of question asking. Like if they didn't know what something meant, they just kind of pretend that they did. Um, I'm trying to think of one where yeah, there was like
Well,
some actual back and forth with an editor, but.
it's interesting because I don't know if there's like a hierarchy in the sense that you mentioned that. I think, was it the Adele one there? Like she made like a Holocaust joke, and she was like, "Oh, it's okay because I have a Jewish friend." Well, like if you
Oh
were a white,
yeah,
if you were a,
yeah.
if you were a white guy and you were like, I used the N word in my poem because I had a black friend, like no editor would be like, oh yeah, that makes sense,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah, there was that. Okay, yeah. You know what? Now you're bringing me back to that one. Yeah. So I submitted it to what was the name of the magazine? It's defunct now. Go figure. Um, but
They all are. Aren't they all dead?
They're all gone.
it was yeah, it was a Holocaust poem basically. And I thought for sure I would have to submit this as BH Find the Gay Jew. But I tried. I'm just like, let's see just how far they will let me go with this. So I submitted it as the gender fluid Nigerian. Um, and all I had to do was just go, yeah, I have a Jewish friend and this is for him. And that's it.
That was it.
It was, I'm trying to find the what I've written in my notes on this one
This
from
is
the
this is why Larry
actual.
Ellison is taking over WB. He can't have like black women controlling the hierarchy anymore. Jews got to be on top, you know. It's just not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I hear you. It was uh I'm trying to find my oh yeah, it was the Middle Management Goose Stepper Do Nothings poem. And I write in the notes here, it's page 62 of the collection, and I'll probably go into this a little bit more later, but I've leaked now to Internet Archive the digital version of my Echolalia review, so anyone can go read it.
Let's
Because it was never
go.
about the money. And it was always about the message and all that sort of stuff. So now people, your reader, your listeners, and all that sort of stuff can actually go access the full thing and read these notes themselves. But
Hell
I'll
yeah.
send you guys a link for that shit.
Okay.
But it's somewhat unbelievably, Adele managed to get this one published. In the age of own voices, Adele got around her lack of Jewishness when sending this poem out by dedicating it to her best friend Levi, who frequently has to deal with anti-Semitic remarks in the workplace. And then I put some notes here. It was loosely inspired by J.J. Steinfeld's I Thrust My Left Arm Forward While Thinking of the Past, and a handful of other cruder poems that reference Auschwitz, the Gestapo, concentration camps, and more in relation to everyday inconveniences.
Is that a real poem? I thrust my left hand while thinking about the Holocaust or whatever. That's a real fucking poem.
It's
Yeah, like this shit is crazy. I would read like you could take like I don't know, going to the grocery store and then being out of oranges and equate it to the Holocaust in poetry, and people be like, "Yeah, that's that's good stuff. Like that's what we want right now. Like
right. The subjugation of blacks because you know we ran out of fucking Kool-Aid.
it's just like it's just nonsense. I'm like, dude, you're just completely like debasing that historical event by like, comparing it to like I don't know, they didn't have post-it notes and you wanted to write something down at work. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like it's probably like I don't know how it's like a lack of criticism, I guess you could say, or but I don't know if they have the ability to. They probably do. They just don't want to say anything, right?
Yeah, it's oh man, it's a weird thing, man. I don't know.
Yeah, because going into it, like in the Echolalia book, I think we're going to spoil it. I guess at the end of this section, you're quite fair, actually. You know, to the left side and the right side, right? Or you're like, you can have your trans furry, black poetry, just also have the other end too. Um, and it's not really about like censorship or like these guys suck necessarily, but it's the censorship of like one side. I think the unbalancing that makes it so bad. Correct, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. That's kind of my main point. Where if you only get one side of things, really you're just getting an incomplete picture of what poets would uh, be thinking and feeling in this era. There's so many of us who have rather different opinions and takes on all these social phenomena, but they just don't get to see them. And I think that's just kind of a tragedy, frankly, from an artistic standpoint. That's just kind of like a neutering of the form, which I don't want to see. But I kind of like the furry random shit or whatever. Like I'm not gonna go out of my way to read it that often, but it's so bizarre that like I'm not trying to get rid of that. Like you can
Yeah.
write your furry fanfic poems and whatever the fuck. Like I don't care. Like it's fine.
Yeah, you know, your final kind of credo at the end, you kind of you kind of suggest that in a lot of, you know, in some ways that you could look at what's happened as like a positive thing, like almost like this has caused a kind of like a renaissance that has like made poetry like a still contemporary like thing that like artists can indulge in or whatever. It's just that the way, you know, it's been co-opted by ideology and you know, uh, you know, cringe leftist aesthetics and shit. So it's almost like you're like, look, like I understand. It's like this is like a good thing. Like we, you know, this resurgence is positive, but it's at the same time it's like it's denigrating it, and we have to do something about it now that we're putting it back into the, you know, the mainstay.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so much good in poetry even now, and even if I don't agree with some of the things that people are writing or the ideas that they have or anything like that, I'm glad just people are writing at all. There's so much potential in poetry right now, but it's just getting increasingly isolated just by the choices the editors make and all of that stuff. I firmly believe in the talent of a lot of these poets. Like I've mentioned this elsewhere. I'm consistently blown away by what I see sometimes, but then other times I'm just appalled. So it's
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
you never know what you're gonna get.
I
Hmm.
wanted to read this quote at the end that you had that like really spoke to me. It said, "So for participants in this community and appreciators of any kind of poetry who want to see it avoid losing its rebel spirit, its charm, and its relevance, then one primary directive emerges: trying harder and maybe not being such massive fucking pussies." Like that to me encapsulates everything. Like if it's all art, everybody's just a massive fucking pussy right now, right? Like as you
Yeah.
mentioned, there's great art out there from even leftists, furry leftists. They make great art, okay, somewhere. But a lot of times these editors are just massive fucking pussies, and they can't fucking just say no to like the other 90% of trash that is just fucking garbage.
Well, yeah, undoubtedly, they just need stronger filters again. And it's not even hard to do. You
Yeah,
just you just say no more often. That's it. It's not a hard policy to adopt. I advocate for this in my mini manifesto at the end. Just say no like 50% more often. That's it.
yeah, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I
But
guess. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go on.
Uh, oh no, I was just gonna say they all think they're doing their part in some kind of like you know, affirmative action. You know, like they think that they're like propping up, you know, sacred marginalized voices, and you know this is somehow, you know, social reparations or something, but
They
it's
would.
really just creating just like a, you know, a homogenized uh you know, set of, you know, boundaries for people that no one can, you know, you know, no one can like trespass.
They're like infantilized children. They're like living in a Star Wars film. They're like killing Darth Vader.
Oh, we could talk about that because I mean that is a huge theme I feel like through Echolalia, Aaron, is this idea that it's definitely like in like the margins of the words there that like all of these people are like King said, infantilized, and they do not want to like accept the responsibilities of adulthood, So everything they say and do is like removed from adult responsibilities, and like even the technical jargon when they have to like get professional about like submission stuff and all that stuff, they just treat it very like lackadaisical, like they're fucking high schoolers.
Oh yeah, that shit drives me crazy, man. Whenever I go and I see a new magazine, I go to their like about page and it's just like the quirky whatever millennials speak nonsense for what they want.
Mhm.
I immediately just like X out the tab or something. Like this if you're just giving me this nonsensical stream of things that you're looking for, and it is just, uh, like man-child things or like woman-child things, and it's the equivalent of, yeah, oh, we want poems that kill the Darth Vader, I guess, and stuff that just, what the fuck is that? Like, what are we doing? I'm 30 years old now. Like, you guys are like 45. What the fuck? Like,
Bro, they're writing poetry in their room full of Funko Pops.
yeah. Shit is like, dude, you're 45 years old, man. Like, get it together.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Yeah,
I would.
yeah. They're all talking like they're like sensitive, like 13-year-old girls though.
Yeah, it's just like have some self-respect. I mean, you can like quirky things or whatever. I'm not gonna tell you you can't accept, poems in that humor or style, but it was getting excessive. I was seeing so much of this stuff. And like I read poetry all pretty much all day, every day. Half of it didn't even make sense. I'm like, this just like, how is anyone supposed to hit this mark? Like this, you can't even write what you're like appealing for. So, we just got to get a little bit serious and more serious about that. Like, just a bit. Like, cut it out a bit, guys. Maybe a moratorium on that shit for a while.
Yeah. You, yeah, it's interesting because since we're talking about Echolalia right now, we read through it. I thought it was great. How should I say this?
Yeah,
It's really weird that you say that these were a bunch of, like, I guess poems that were meant to be bad. And maybe it's in the context of the thing, but while I was reading it, I was having so much fun. Like, I'm like, no, all of this stuff is great. Like, I love all of it. Every single poem is, like, freaking hilarious, dude. Um,
yeah. And actually like for it appearing almost like slapped together in certain ways, it's so considerate. The wordplay in it is actually very considerate and super well pointed in its criticisms. It's
yeah.
like it's not just like some some lazy satire. It's so you can tell like how much dedicated like work went into actually like uh replicating bad poetry.
Yeah, I wanted it to be a showcase of every conceivable style that I had come across. So everything from like the faux, traditional, like kind of strangely hyper or hypometrical stuff of people kind of like aping the old styles. I wanted that Instagram poetry. I wanted all of the range of free verse that you typically see in these mid to low level magazines. um, it took a fuckload of time, I will say, like 2 full years basically while I was writing FEMOID. This one was like, I mean, when I was writing it, I'm like, man, I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to stay in the industry for. Like, I'm gonna be homeless soon. Like this is just, it's probably not a long-term play unless I'm just like intent to die doing this stuff at like 32 years old. So I was at a bit of a crossroads and I just thought, well, this concept is too good. Like I have to at least finish this. And even if this is the last thing I write, let this be a statement of what I had to offer as an artist. So I went into it with like a life and death kind of mentality. and I gave it everything. I gave it fucking everything I had. And I did it essentially alone. Like at the very end, like Per Ube is gone now, but N, let's call him, he did like a proofread with me at the end and he helped design some of the visual elements. But basically, this entire fucking thing, like 99.9% of it, was just me slaving away in secret, having these communiques with random editors and just reshaping things. I couldn't tell anyone because if I had gotten they'd spoiled the ruse before it was time for it to go, I wouldn't have gotten the article or anything like that. So, um, and this one was it's not often in life you're pushed to the point I was when I was doing this, and that's why it came out the way it did.
Okay, yeah. Dude, it makes total sense. But it's because like I feel like to be actually bad poetry, like you would have to like do the same thing over and over, right? Like having the variety and even all of the references, because you have different things. Like you have um these kind of tables where it goes through like the movements of poetry, and then like halfway through, like it starts going crazy, and you start making all these different jokes, and I'm like, just like the amount of work that comes into just making one single table. That I think, I'm gonna be honest here. I did skim a little bit. There was a lot. There was a lot of names.
There's a
But
lot
like,
of shit in here, yeah.
yeah. But I'm just like, dude, you put so much effort into this. Like,
Hmm.
I like as an editor, I kind of maybe it's different when you're looking at it through poem per poem. But as an editor, I feel like I could see the energy of there is skill in this. Um, to how the poems are made.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to address that part of things, like it couldn't be so bad. I had to find a fine line. Like it couldn't be so bad that it was just like not funny. And like they wouldn't have gotten picked up if there was no skill involved, right? Like I've
Yeah.
seen bad parody poems and there's just like not enough there for it to even warrant publication. So I had to walk that line with each one where like there are poetic elements and there is a bit of freshness, but like ideologically the poem is just completely bankrupt, or I throw in lines that make absolutely no sense, or I lead you to a conclusion that's like completely irrational and actually harmful to you, or like whatever it is. Each one had to have some sort of like fundamental quality that made it in my eyes bad or like dangerous. So like the decolonizing a stray one that got featured in a few different articles. One of the initial ones before the Free Press article hit piece was by I can't remember. It stood on Medium and it got like a decent amount of traction. But it was about the decolonizing a stray one and my fiasco with the editor of the Bitch and Kitsch. Um, but this whole one, it looks totally normal. It's, about the cat and adopting it or whatever. But yeah, basically, if the person were to feed the cat the way they want to, the cat would die.
Right.
So
Oh,
they're
right.
Yeah.
Because of the
basically,
garlic.
yeah, like you don't want to give a cat garlic or anything like that. It's terrible. Like you should know not to do that as a cat owner. But this person is too, set on decolonizing their cat that they're going to give them beef suya and potentially kill them. So,
Yeah,
um,
wasn't it like you can, even if it got like an eighth of a teaspoon, that it could potentially die or something like that?
yeah, cats are like really sensitive to that shit. And so you don't want to give them onion powder or garlic powder or anything. And beef suya, every recipe I've ever looked at calls for both. So, I mean, it would at least hurt the cat. Maybe not kill it, depending on how much you use, but um, sometimes it was really subtle like that. Other times it was like glaringly obvious this is horrible. Why would you publish it?
Yeah, I mean that kind of mentality trickles down into, like everyday leftist behavior as well. Like you see like crazy shit like, look, if I, if I gotta like take out my kid because like ICE is coming for us, like you heard it here first. I did us a mercy, like
Yeah, yeah.
You like in the name of social progress, like I'll have to just do the just thing and just kill my fucking baby, I guess.
A mercy kill my kids so they don't get deported by ICE.
You could write. Here's the thing: you could write that poem, and someone out there is gonna go, "Yeah, this is a powerful statement. Look at
Right.
what's happening to these families." Like, no, dude, fucking don't kill your kid, man. Like, promote this.
Yeah, which is that's like the whole mission statement of Echolalia, is that like you are really coming after all these very distinct archetypes that are championing these like really just like outrageously um like anti-human values, like anti-traditional, anti-life values, like all the antinatalist poetry was just so dead on in far as like giving you a precise insight into like how like the modern woke woman like views humanity.
Yeah, and it's funny you bring that up because I start the collection, or at least the poetry section of the fake magazine portion, with an antinatalist poem. I did that very deliberately because I think that was one of the most common sentiments that I picked up on. There was very little treatment of like childbirth or having a family in positive ways. Um, and so I thought, okay, well, why not start with something that basically just sort of like advocates for like this nihilistic anti-family kind of perspective. We might as well just get right into it and go
Yeah.
straight to the negativity and like everyone should die kind of stuff. So that's the "In the Delivery Room, I Hate Kids" poem.
Yeah. Pretty incredible title, where she literally is making allusions to the Salem witch trials and her carrying a larva as she's literally giving birth to it. uh pretty sensational, pretty right on, dude. And then the very next poem, oh, and she's degrading her husband the whole time. And then the
Yeah,
very
yeah.
next poem is from her husband. uh and I mean, I guess before we get to that, I love the detail that he includes. He like gives credit to his wife, because it's like you can almost like see the internal dynamic going on between these two, like behind the poetry, actually, like that. Oh, it's technically her story, and I'm writing about her story, so I'll credit her in the title. um and yeah, his story completely divorced from the role of fatherhood. Him literally titling the poem "My Wife's Son." And he's just talking about him being a fucking cuck to a black bull named Tyrone.
Oh, it's
Oh my god,
fucked.
bro. Yeah. I mean, there's just so much there that you just hit the fucking hammer on the nail, dude. It was so specific and so, yeah, just dead on.
Right, because I wanted to create essentially dynamics between all of the different fake personas, both the ones that I used in real life and just the ones that were made up for the collection, to make it seem more like a standard poetry collection. But uh, yeah, like just little things like that, where Tina is obviously the one wearing the pants, so to speak, in their dynamic, and then just poor Jonathan Oberman Crosby is along for the ride, and like everything down to the name choice, like Oberman being like Overman or the Ubermensch type thing, like that's what he's been reduced to. He's
Oh
a
wow.
hyphenated. He's like a hyphenated just cuck basically.
That's right. He's a fucking hyphenate. He's the modern male cuck. That's, oh my god, dude. Man, not to completely derail you, but there's a great line in the movie Hot Tub Time Machine from fucking 2010. This is like 16 years ago, but people were still, they're like, dude, you have a fucking hyphen it? Like that, like
Yeah.
that's the most like that's the gayest, that's the most cuck shit possible to have a fucking hyphen in your name, dude. Man, what an incredible detail. Sorry to derail that, but yeah, again, so specific.
Wait, just so I'm clear, the hyphenate, that means he's taking his like wife's name and his last name, right? Like the Indy Sigil or
Yeah,
whatever the fuck, right? Okay,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
making sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
I'm not up
taking
to
his
speed on the
wife.
meta. I'm sorry.
No, it's so funny. That's exactly it. That yeah, he she it's obviously it's a institution of patriarchal values to take your husband's last name. You have to progressively march towards the gray feminine future and have a hyphenate in your last name.
Yeah, it's just bewildering, right? It's just so sad for some of these
She
dudes.
can't become one of you. She's got to retain all of her, all of her identity, which is like utterly retarded.
Yeah, I mean, it's as the joke goes, like instead of her taking your name, you have to take her father's name. So,
Oh my
it's
god, yeah. Man, that's so true, dude. Holy shit. I didn't even think about it like that, but yeah, that's so true, dude.
the
That's
only way out is to. Sorry, go ahead, cringe.
no. I was just gonna say that's the dad finally cucking the guy who fucks his daughter, right? Is that the guy who fucks his daughter now
It's
has to
his
take his last
revenge.
name? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
have to write some like follow-up shit with this dynamic. Like, it's just gonna have to get out of control. We're gonna need a few follow-up poems.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, we need the son's perspective as he becomes like, he's raised by two fucking retards who aren't there for him, and his mom's just getting banged down in the back room.
That would be fucking crazy. Like, I'll just do it from the kid's perspective, where he just has that no one's paying attention to him. Like, he's the product of like race-based sexual fantasy, and once he's born, like the fantasy's fulfilled. They don't care anymore. Um, like and then yeah, the dad might her father might get involved. Who knows? But that would be just pure insanity. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
that's like the origins of like a Welbeck character. The kid's gonna grow up to be a total degenerate nihilist who hates his like, sexually revolutionized, hippie retard parents.
Oh man, and I've spoken about Welbeck on like other podcasts and stuff. I'm pretty sure it was like Book Club from Hell. Shout out to those guys.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but fuck, actually, Welbeck. I'm assuming you guys are, at least don't mind his work.
I've
We're
never
we're
read it.
just I don't think we're like super familiar. We just kind of get the general idea.
Yeah.
I would say like read whatever. That I read that when I was like 21 or something.
Hmm.
And holy shit, the club scene. I think to this day, like one of the funniest scenes I've ever read in any book is the club scene with the self-titled like Michel character and his friend Tisserand. And I don't want to spoil it. It's so fucking good, but it is actually like relevant to this kind of stuff because Tisserand sees this girl that he was interested in dancing with some like I don't know black guy or half black guy or something, and he's just like he completely spirals, and it inspires one of the funniest fucking things I've ever read in my life. You have to. It's such a short book. Just do it. It's so good.
Yeah, that's that one in particular. I think that's his first book. That one's been on my list to read forever. I definitely got to get around to that
Oh, it's
Yeah.
an Intel classic. It's
one.
absolutely.
Yeah, an incel banger for sure.
Yeah. I think you got me. What is it? Platform, right? So
Yeah, I bought you platform. Yeah.
I have to get platform. Read through platform one of these. We got to do Michelle. Hell,
Yeah, let's do.
Welbeck
We'll have to
one of
do an
these.
episode where we read platform and talk about Welbeck a little bit. It'll be the perfect It'll be the perfect clickbait for our audience.
Yeah, for the part two. But,
Right.
Platform's pretty
yeah.
good. I read that one a while ago too.
Oh,
Yeah, you like that one?
Yeah, I still prefer whatever, but Platform's pretty solid.
All right. We'll be noted. I mean, I didn't expect it to be shit. I mean, I thought it was gonna be pretty good, but yeah. Um, Getting back to Echolalia though, one of the things I did want to ask was, so one of the funniest things is you have like the Amazon royalties. Um, uh,
Yeah.
yeah. We're like this total retard is like getting like tens of thousands of money, and then like the people who like sign on to like these publishers like get jack shit or basically raped up the ass. Like I guess you mentioned in the book club from hell, like you were in the publishing or poetry industry in the wild. Like, is this how it is? Like people who like get signed are just like fucking raped.
Yeah, I mean, straight up, like, I wanted to do the royalty statement because I see so many poets who just write like the Rupi Kaur style stuff, and their books have like 8,000 Amazon reviews, and they're just making an absolute killing. And these people are semi-literate at best. They don't even understand like basic metrical theory and stuff like that. There's nothing going on upstairs, right? But they might be hot, they might be handsome, whatever. They fuck a bit, so they write some poetry and then put it in some slapdash collection and just eject it out into the world, and somehow they have a following. I used to get like profoundly angry thinking about that. Just these people were getting like rewarded with attention and money and all this sort of stuff, and their stuff is objectively just poor. But I've kind of gotten over it because this book in particular, Echolalia Review, helps me get a lot of that fury out. But um, it's been my experience, and I can't necessarily reveal certain names here, but I've worked
Yeah.
with people who've worked with Rupi directly and have sort of bitten her style a little bit and tried their own ventures. And they've had success. Last I checked, one of them, I worked with her for a little bit. She had like 80,000 Instagram followers for her like Rupi knockoff stuff, and it's probably like double that now. Um, And she did illustrative work for me back in the day because she openly confessed to me that she hated Rupi's style and that she was only mimicking it to make money.
Oh my
And I'm like, you can't be serious. Like you post every single day and you just like you act like you like doing this. She's like, no, it's just really easy. Every time I post, I make a couple sales and shit. I'm like, fuck.
Oh my God. It's just
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that going on. So there's some grifters in the sort of Rupee Instagram poetry scene for sure who are aware that they're not good, or just know that that's what you have to do to make money. So,
Yeah,
um,
they play the intersectional cards.
Well,
yeah, and
you
yeah, go
know,
ahead.
with the AI thing, we can just make like now we can make an AI personality girl, right? Generate groupie poems or whatever, and then make bank, and then all our problems are solved.
I'm in. Fuck
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
AI Instagram model plus terrible poetry seems like the new meta.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
fuck artistic expression. I think I want to go this route actually. It seems much easier.
It's actually just bewildering how quickly it works. Um, I, I don't want to even give this idea away. I mean, if I had more spare time, I'd say we should band together and try this strat. Just split the money three ways here. It's so viable.
Yeah, like now that I'm thinking about it, like you have like one like really hot AI girl, right? And then like all the artists like write stuff, and then like this character can like publish all the books, so now like it's a prolific AI like Instagram girl or whatever, and then we just split the cash.
Actually, because most of the guys, like the horny Indians who follow those accounts, like they'll just buy anything this girl does. They'll just like, they'll pay for the OnlyFans, they'll do whatever. So if she just like makes a post saying like, yeah, wanted to try my hand at poetry, working on a new collection, what do you guys think? And then it's like, 20,000 likes for something that is either auto-generated. It could say nothing. It could have like, one letter on the page or something. They'd be like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I like what you're doing here. Like keep
Yeah,
it up." Like, it's that sort of shit. So this we
an
might have to discuss
entire
this one.
Bro, this is like the revenge of the H-1Bs. Like they're taking all of our like tech jobs, but then we're like, oh yeah, but if we make the AI girls, then they'll just give the money right back to us. It's like this vicious cycle.
just an entire indie press behind
Yeah.
one e-girl behind one e-girl Instagram account.
This has the makings of a business plan, boys. This
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut this part out. Like it's just
Yeah, we're cutting this out. This is ours. This is ours.
Yeah, this is now proprietary actually. So
yeah.
but that's that's kind of what I was getting at, I guess, with the royalty pieces there, because people will make just an utter killing, but then there will be poets that I regard as being like high skill poets, whether or not I like their work. They're at that level. Who make $1 per book sale, and then their collection sells like 200 copies max or something, and they've put like a year's worth of their time into this, 2 years at a high level, getting published in good, reputable magazines, and I feel so fucking bad for those people. Um, there's one story I can tell you. Um, he's not a he's not a poet necessarily. He's a novelist actually. And I don't think he'll mind me telling this, but I won't use his name. He signed a contract for his first novel. I guess he didn't read it closely enough or something like that. Just guess how much he makes in royalties per sale, and his novel sells for like $20 or like $25 a book.
Um,
How much?
10 cents.
It's something like that. Yeah.
What
It's
the fuck?
it's less than $1. I think it was like it was like 17 cents, I think.
Oh my god.
Where you could immediately get that book like on the front cover of some like New Yorker type magazine. You could sell 200,000 copies tomorrow, and you would still make less than the average person would at a regular job
Yeah,
for
McDonald's.
1 year. Like, it's fucked.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
it's funny too because I think you put in like the because I wasn't sure. Well, I guess like because you say like you feel bad for these people, but it's really funny because like on the signing they're like, you aren't reading this contract, are you? Like we could say anything, and you would just sign it anyway.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
yeah, because
true.
some people are just desperate to be in print. They've wanted that their whole lives, so they'll
Yeah,
just, yeah, oh, okay, yeah, I'll just, sign the dotted line or whatever. I'll just do it. Oh, I get to be in fucking Barnes and Noble. Let's sign me up, dude. But then, fuck, you totally get raped. Like it sounds like it's just one big front. Everyone's actually getting raped behind the scenes.
bro. It says right here, author, useful idiot name where you signed. Bro, this shit is too funny.
Yeah, and I've got for your listeners here, I've got a fake contract because there's after the magazine portion, I've got creative nonfiction pieces, and one's a fake contract where, it lays out what you would make with one of these presses that I've made up called Fuck Stump Publishing. Um, and yeah, it just evolves like it's very clearly predatory, but it knows that you're not reading this, so it's like taunting you as you go through this. And like your industry leading royalty of like 4% of the net revenue is, fine there. You get a demonstrative advance of $10 against future royalties and just this sort of shit. But like I've had to, when working with publishers before, I've had to just not sign because of the agreements that they've thrown my way. So you have to be quite cautious. But um, that's also why some of these indie presses are now trying to do a no contract agreement, like what was for my FEMOID novel, because they don't want to come across as like predatory or anything like that. So it's a weird industry. Yeah, there's not much money in it, yet they still find ways to just molest you when it comes to royalties.
Yeah.
Man, that whole and we're definitely gonna get into the some more of that femoid drama soon. Um, I want to talk a little bit about that nonfiction section, which is pretty great. Again, and an extension of the Marxist ideologues. There's an entire essay dedicated to advocating for why poets are like the most marginalized class and deserve a universal basic income of up to $1 million a year.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, truly stellar stuff. And again, just like the commitment to accurately, representing like the actual speech and the mindset in it is truly incredible. Um, you so do you value? It seems to me like you have a, let's see, how do I kind of want to phrase this? um you get some sort of an inherent like pleasure in replicating some of the aesthetics, like the emojis and some of the uh it's kind of like the form breaking shit. um do you see it as like like there's like inherent entertainment value and like potential in those aesthetics, and you find pleasure in replicating them, even though that they're kind of being subverted right now.
Yeah, I would say so. Like, you could classify me, at least for this, as something of like a literary forger almost, where I'm almost just tracing these works of art and reframing them for you, where I see all of this stuff out there already, but if you refine the way you look at it and you just sort of like change the scope a little bit, you can really kind of hone in on the absurdity of it. Um, so some of this stuff is just essentially just like an amalgamation of what's out there. I've just sort of recompiled it and moved it around and just changed the way you look at it. It's all original content, of course, but um, I mean, I see a lot of potential in these different aesthetics. I just think they're being misused.
Mhm.
I like, as a matter of fact, if we're talking about the essay, I like hyper literary, like really dense academic writing. I know the movement is toward like simplicity in academic writing, and everyone wants it to be really straightforward and accessible. I think there's something good in that, but everyone who seems to advocate for that, I don't know if that's you guys or not, but um, they they kind of don't realize that you're gonna miss out on people who are capable of doing like really hyper literary academic work. If you just force them to simplify everything all the time, you're gonna lose the ability to do that. Like, I don't want that to go away necessarily. I do think it can get really excessive, and I've shown an incredibly excessive version here. But in most of these cases, I don't want these aesthetics to go away. I just think that when they're done to excess, or when they're so prominent, we need some sort of counterbalance. So, like, the essay you're speaking of here for your listeners is $1 million of universal basic income for every poet and economic argument by Suthimilin Peng Starkowski. But It's adapted from Starkowski's PhD dissertation, Alleviating Individualistic and Institutionalized Artistic Isolation Through Guaranteed Income, a Transgressive Perspective on Cacophony, Permeability, and Efficacy in the Supersession of the New Neo-Marxist Dialectic of the Western-Dominated Late and Post-Capitalistic Neo-Feudal Poetry Publishing Micro and Macrocosms. So,
Bro,
you know,
it's
there's
basically the new Slavoj Zizek already, bro. I just
like I guess the stylistic conceit of the bulk of this essay. I mean, it starts with a Karl Marx quote, of course, but it's only 3 sentences, but this is an excerpt anyway. It's really only 3 sentences in the first paragraph, but it's a full page and a half. So I extend every single sentence to it's just absolutely like mind-numbing to read. I throw in just gratuitous Latin terms, like you don't need them. It just devolves into like nonsense. Actually, no, sorry, the whole thing is just 3 sentences if I'm not mistaken, and it's like 5 pages or like 4 pages. But um, it's yeah, just abysmal to read. Like, but it's also hopefully quite funny.
Yeah,
And then yeah, I don't know, it's a wild one.
I
yeah.
mean,
I personally, I'm a big fan of like overly dense block aesthetics where you just like go into overly excruciating detail, just like like tying together all the thematics, it just like just giving as much as you possibly can. It's like there's something very confrontational but kind of rewarding about that sort of text to me. So I really did appreciate that you not only replicated it to a T, but were able to like poke fun at it, and make and have fun with it. Yeah, I think maybe in my own writing you could say that you could almost argue that I'm one of these bastards. I'm one of these people. I'm reducing the English language, but I wouldn't want that to go away. Just because I write sometimes in a more, I like run-on sentences too, but so I'll kind of mix it up with something that's super verbose and something that's super tight, because just because I write like that, I wouldn't want to just see like that sort of insanely dense approach, that dense aesthetic to like disappear. I think it's I think it's valuable, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's got to stick around. It's just there's got to be balance. And I don't begrudge anyone writing in a simpler style or anything like that. It's just I don't know. I see a lot of especially on like Substack and all those places. There's just like a kind of schizophrenia surrounding style and convention and everything, but as academia, I don't even know what to make of it these days. I don't know what it wants, but it seems everyone is advocating for like simpler styles right now in relation to academia. And then the old school academics are so far up their own asses that they're doing this kind of stuff. So there's a middle ground, I would say. There's an achievable middle ground here.
yeah, because I think in terms of art, it's I guess the construction is what is necessary, and I think a lot of times when people like start writing, they just start writing more because you're supposed to write more, and that does become frustrating. And I feel like for me, maybe it's just because of, how I write, but I would find it hard to justify the need for like extremely dense things unless yeah, but maybe it's just my style. Like lots of other people probably they have justifications for why things need to be as dense as they are. But it's finding it's actually it being truly necessary rather than I guess some people could like flex though, like just to flex. That certainly has merit too.
Well, that's kind of the question I raised with um RX Han, because incel is written in this sort of way where it's like overly verbose. It's like intentionally trying to be, like overstimulating and just like and kind of too much in its intellectual dialogue and its jargon and all that. It's like intentionally relentless in its block form or whatever, but it fits thematically, so it works. But if but then it kind of raised the question of like, all right, well, now if it doesn't fit thematically, or if like you're trying to pivot to a different kind of story, do like, have you cemented yourself in that style? Like, are you forced to then like replicate that with the next story, or like force it to fit thematically if it didn't, or you know what I mean? I just find that kind of interesting. Like, if it doesn't fit the aesthetic, then you maybe should try and find something that will fit it, more appropriately.
I think that's where authors and poets and all of that kind of show their tact. Where if you're a bit of a one-trick pony, you will just do the same style for every uh, all the subject matter that you cover, right? Now, as it happens, books like my first book and Incel and all that sort of stuff, and even my FEMOID, like they rely on this kind of relentlessness, this sort of um, overqualification all the time, because that's often what people in that kind of world, um, that's how they express themselves, right? But that style doesn't work for other subject matter, like in my next novel, the one I'm halfway through right now. It's just not. I've had to like pare it down considerably because it just doesn't work the same way. It's just irritating. If I were to do it from a more like mild mannered man's perspective, it's gonna be fucking terrible. So it's it yeah, it's really just can you adapt to the circumstances? Can you identify when something is needed and when it isn't? And that's generally the mark of a good stylist. And I think that's probably why Honor Levy's having a little bit of difficulty with her second book, because I think this might be the only thing that she can do. But
Is she writing? Has she written her second book? Is it called My Second Book?
I'm gonna bet you any amount of money you want that her second book is gonna be called My Second Book.
I could see that. So definitely, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, but do you know if she's coming out, or is this just like speculation on if she is? Because
Oh, this
Because
is
we haven't
pure
seen one.
speculation, yeah.
oh, okay.
Well, when
I
did
don't
that come out? Like 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, this came out, it was right around the time I was about to drop FEMOID, and I saw this, I'm like, "Fuck, someone beat me to it." Um, it was yeah, I think it was it might have been 2024, it might have been, like, late 2024,
Yeah,
like,
it says
2025.
2024.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I'd already gotten the deal and all that sort of stuff, and we were, like, working on it, and I was ready to go, and then I see this, I'm like, "Ah," but that's what happens. Everyone's writing along the sort of, like, incel, femcel, moid foid lines right now, so, it
Right.
was bound to happen.
So, okay. So what happened with the whole lawsuit controversy publisher thing? Like, what happened with Femoid?
Oh, man, this is a crazy one. It got wrapped up in the whole fiasco with the ECHOLALIA stuff. Um, I wrote a post recently for my Substack, called "The Curious Case of Calamari Archive and Why You Probably Shouldn't Sue Indie Writers," which covers a lot of the circumstances, I suppose. But to give you like a brief rundown here, just because I actually don't know what's going on with this right now. And I mean, I don't really care about poking the bear or not. I don't really give a shit. We'd be, squabbling over peanuts, so to speak. But yeah, so the whole thing was I got that deal for FEMOID around the time I got the deal with Per Ube for Echo. And I knew these were kind of, in a way, related. Like, they were from the same sort of era, obviously, of my career. And so there was going to be a lot of overlap in terms of the edginess and all that sort of stuff. But in terms of what their missions were, they were pretty different, I guess. And I was okay with treating them as separate entities, and I wasn't really going to have them kind of come into conflict with each other or anything. But once this stuff with Echo broke and I started getting like media inquiries and stuff like that, I just thought, well, this press, Calamari Archive, doesn't promote. That's their whole thing. Like they release great books, all this sort of stuff. They've got great affiliations, Ariel Lutz is like the co-editor, and Ariel just got nominated for like the Nobel Prize again in literature and
Wow.
shit. So, yeah, so like I was in there with some heavy hitters. They've published like Blake Butler, Ottessa Moshfegh, like all these huge names that went on to become like really big novelists. So I was honestly just honored to be in that fold. I'm like, holy shit, this is like they like something in my work. This means I've met the standards of like some actual like good editors for my prose. So I actually wasn't really trying to upset them, if I'm honest, and I wrote under the SAB Marcy pen name, not for the same reasons that I wrote under the Echo ones, though people just now accuse me of doing them for the same reasons. But as I've mentioned before, like my ex-girlfriend and I, we knew that this novel would just be way too edgy to get published under my name. Like no one was going to accept it because I had already done the Echo experiment and I knew how editors worked. So I'm like, well, they're gonna fucking hate me, I guess, for even trying to write this novel, even though it's legitimately like true to life in many cases. It's embellished in spots, but a lot of this actually happened, and I'm almost just like recording this in a fictionalized form, but they're still going to object to it just in the spirit of it. So I told her, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to do another pen name. She's like, all right, whatever. So we fused our names together. And I adopted a persona that was basically her instead of me. My communications were under that name and that sort of persona, but this was a press, as I outlined in my essay, that actively advocated for anonymity and didn't mind if you didn't tell them who you were.
Mm.
So I'm like, well, and they made me sign no contract. It was just like a digital spit shake. So I'm like, okay, this is the absolute ideal scenario for this. It's a great press without any of the legal nonsense. So yeah, let's do it. Um, yeah, I worked hard on that one. I revised it, did all this crazy shit for it, like slaved over it at the same time I was slaving over Echo, basically. Um, and they're they're as great as their catalog was and all that sort of stuff. They just didn't believe in any sort of promotion. I'm like, okay, well, I wrote this book. I spent so many hours on it, and it's probably just gonna like hang out, and maybe someone will discover it eventually. I don't know, but I can't promote it myself either because I'm supposed to be this, half black girl, and I don't want to be her forever. I'd broken up with that girlfriend, and I didn't want to live as her. Um, is honestly it just sucked to think about. And anytime I had to log in as Marcy or something, I had to think about her. So I'm like, fuck, this is terrible. This is just like actual agony I'm subjecting myself to. I don't want to be this anymore. Um, but it was right around that time that they offered me the free press article on Echo. And the reporter was like, "Oh, so you wrote a novel too?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did, just under another pen name." He's like, "Do you want it featured in the article?" I'm like, Actually, yeah, because then we can tie everything together, but then I can like prove to people that I'm writing serious stuff as well with pen names. Like you can use them for both purposes. Um, the sort of like mischievous, but then also perhaps the quote unquote noble, trying to, immortalize someone important to you in your life. And yeah, I guess the editor did not like that because I just gave him the option. Like, I didn't even say you have to be in this article. I'm like, if you don't want the press, that's okay. But he didn't even. I mean, it was basically just delisted immediately as soon as we had that call. It was just fucking like torched. The instant I came out as me. So,
So then
but
what happened to the book?
yeah, so the book got torched like basically as I was on the call, um, which was really funny. That's how quickly he moved on it. Just deleted all
Holy
the sort of
shit.
stuff. Yeah, and I wasn't given the files. He deleted all the files with the design work and
Holy
everything.
fuck.
So I had to basically from one PDF reconstruct the book and like edit it in this fucking ass Adobe PDF editor that would fuck everything up every time I tried to add any content. I'm not a book designer. I know how to do it very basically, but like I had to like add all the afterwards stuff. I had to change the art elements out. We had to do a new cover. We had to do all this sort of stuff. And man, it was a fucking hassle. The bleed and everything that you needed. I had to like reconfigure the parameters of the document and nothing would work for that. So I had to put a decent amount of effort just to make it accessible again. Um, and I thought, well, like, okay, if we have no contract, then he's not legally entitled to any part of this book. That was what he impressed upon me. And I showed it to the editor, the reporter and all that just to make sure. But yeah, he torched the book. The people who initially reviewed it for the press on like Goodreads mysteriously changed all their 5-star ratings to 1-star ones, making fun of how I was actually a white guy and like being appalled at um the book. And
I saw
I
that
mean,
their 1-star reviews. They all said like I'm retrospectively giving this 1 star now because I found out that he's actually a white guy.
yeah, those were people from, I guess the press had sent them advanced review copies or something.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, oh
I
man, I
felt
heard
jilted.
from, yeah, right. And
I thought this was a
I
black woman.
well, that's the insanity with which these people operate. Like, you can try to explain to them your motivations. I did, and they just won't listen to you. Like, it's like they just cut you off. You're just dead to them. Nothing you say makes any sense anymore. You're the enemy, blah, blah, blah. I've offered to have dialogues with the editor in question and the people he's affiliated with. Nothing. They won't even talk to me directly. They have to like go through people who just like yell at me over email. Um, they won't even fucking talk to me over the phone. So, um, it's weird. I mean, so much happened, and I'm not even trying to reopen this shit necessarily. I'm not trying to cast aspersions. They acted how they wanted to act. It's not. It's disappointing, but not in any way unexpected for this industry. Um, but yeah, I mean that post kind of outlines where we got up to with the sort of cease and desist that was sent to McBussy when they tried to redistribute it for me. So I just made FEMOID accessible to everyone. It's just there's the digital version, which is the main one. Allegedly, maybe, purportedly, you can find a physical available somewhere out there. Um, but for
Yeah, I've got
legal
a
reasons, I
physical.
can't tell you where. For legal reasons, I cannot say. Um, But yeah, like it was never again about any money. It was an artistic statement that I wanted to make on behalf of someone, and I did. And it just got wrapped up in a bit of a fiasco. So
So
I'm
let me
blacklisted.
yeah,
Sorry, go
so
ahead.
so let me get this straight. You sent a book to some dudes. They don't want the book, but when you make the book yourself and distribute it, they send you a cease and desist.
Yeah, yeah,
What
basically.
the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with these people, bro? Like, you don't want the book, just like, oh my goodness, dude.
Yeah,
Like, all
you're in.
the thing about these people is like, oh, I love art. No, you don't, you fucking retard. Because if you did, you just let the art be. Like, oh my goodness, I hate these people so much.
Right. It's not about that. It's about, subjecting you to some sort of punishment and not allowing you to have your expression.
Bro, yeah.
More or less. And it was really disappointing because, they, as I mentioned in the afterword, they were trying to do a decent amount with this book. At least they were sort of discussing it behind the scenes. And I didn't expect it to ever be made into like a TV show or whatever it is, like they were talking about. But, um, I had one writer in particular whom I used to respect write to me because of his affiliation. Like these guys were very well connected with some like top names in the industry who all hate me now. So it's kind of nice to be hated by a Nobel nominee, actually, I will say.
Yo, real shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
King
like
King and I are experiencing a much minor version of
Oh
that
my
a little
goodness.
bit actually.
We'll,
oh
we'll
yeah, how
talk.
so?
We'll talk about it after. I don't want any more drama
Yeah,
than we
yeah.
have
We
already.
won't, we don't have to go full,
Gotcha.
into it, but yeah, we'll tell you after.
You guys know the feeling, right? Like
Oh
when
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
almost an honor, but
Yeah, it is almost an honor, but I'm also like, do I need to go burn some shit? Like,
Bro, I just
yeah,
don't.
yeah,
I
straight up.
don't want to deal with this shit. Like, why do these people care so much, bro? It's unbelievable the amount that they care. Actually.
it's just so performative and so gay. Just making it your life's mission to actually be an actual enemy to art.
Yeah, and like that's the crazy part too, because it's like, like I'm writing books, you're writing books, okay? Like we can just write our books, but it's like, no, actually we have to stop you. And it's like you're taking time out of your day to stop writing your books to like fuck with me. Like, could we just not?
Straight up, it seems kind of inimical to the arts to do this. It's a lot of time and energy where there's almost like a non-issue. At least in the
Yeah,
case of FEMOID, it's to me, yeah, it's not great when one of your writers comes out and he's a bit of an edgelord or something. But if he actually tries to explain it to you and you don't listen to him, and then you try to blacklist him and you sick people on him allegedly all this sort of stuff. Like, what? Why are you in this industry? Like, at least then put on your fucking website that you only publish certain types of people and you don't like anonymous people, actually,
Mm-hmm.
and you are only open to a few different types of art, and just don't go outside of that because otherwise you're a massive hypocrite and actually harmful to the arts.
yeah. They don't care about
Yep.
that though. Probably. It's like so. I'm assuming they don't have any legal standing because you never signed a contract, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I mean it's probably better to be safe than sorry, but just sucks too. Because legally you're in
I
the
mean,
right.
it'd be hilarious if they took me to court. I don't care if they do or not. I actually just genuinely don't care. Like, if you want to, fine, I guess. I'm not trying to incite, more problems here, but
Yeah.
why even take someone to court over like paltry royalties?
Mm-hmm.
Um, like even if I sold like 5,000 copies or something like that, right away, and I made, like $4 a copy or something like that. That's still not that much money. I'd just give that to you to go away, allegedly.
Right, right.
But
Yeah.
like, it's
Literally leave me alone.
yeah, it's I don't fucking get it. They like the most disappointing thing was some dude. I can't use his name because every time I do, he threatens to sue me for something separate.
Oh my
Um,
god.
yeah, which makes like no sense. I don't even know how you would quantify what the damages were for me just mentioning your name, but it's like that's how they operate. I don't get it. Like he like tried to get me in with his agent because he really liked the book and he signed off on it. He called it like oh he wrote me these grand effusive essays. I was so stoked. I'm like, dude, this guy's so good, or at least, respected in the industry, and he's kind of my age, and like, he's gonna try to fast track me. This is so awesome. And he told me I confessed to him partially that I was a guy, I was a white guy, before any of the fiasco dropped. And he's like, no, that's cool. Like, I kind of guessed. And he wanted to like start a podcast with me and shit and like all this sort of other stuff. I'm like, dude, this is so sick. Um, and then I guess the whole fiasco came out and the editor had sort of poisoned the well. So he sends me these like just gigantic missives about how I'm a fraud and I'm a bad person and all this stuff. I'm like, dude, I don't really even know you, honestly. Like we've exchanged like 12 emails. Um, you told me this wasn't even an issue. Um, why do the about face here? And I tried to be like respectful to him as best I could over and over, and he's just like sending me all these insults and telling me about I'm gonna allegedly die a forgotten artist and all this stuff. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you, man? Like, get a grip. Like, actually, get a fucking grip. You're not even that good yourself, first of all.
Oh shit!
Also,
Oh fuck!
like like, you got allegedly, one book out there, and it's not even great. You had a lot of help for it. Um, but just, like, why do this? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not your enemy. But that's how they act. That's how they act to me, and then I'm just supposed to be, like, the calm kind of, measured person in my responses all the time, which I always try to be.
So, are you like completely blackballed from like the publishing industry now? Is it just independent publishing or bust?
Good question. I'm not sure the extent to which I am, but here's my contention. Um, in an era where we can sort of talk about the uniformity of publishing and the kind of lack of perhaps chances being taken, I took some fucking chances. I did, I really did. There's very few people who are willing to like martyr themselves as I essentially have here. And these are the figures we used to like. We used to respect that. We used to kind of like uh venerate that. And so um I I think the era of just like being permanently canceled and stuff is over. Like if this had happened in 2019 or 2020 or something, like I would have had to sit out for a while. Um but I mean I've gotten published since.
Oh, I see.
Um Yeah, like I'm just starting to send out work to poetry magazines again in particular. And, you know, I haven't had much issue there. Maybe it's just people aren't looking me up, but it's like
the right
I'm
the right people will want to market the fact that you kind of had a blow up with the article. You know what I mean? Like a smart person would see the value in trying to capitalize on that.
I would think so, yeah. And a couple people reached out to me, a couple magazines and stuff, and actually solicited stuff from me for that reason. Um, so I was
Oh
supposed to go
wow.
down. Yeah, I was supposed to go down to New York recently and do like a reading for one of the chapters of FEMOID actually, in this really cool magazine. He might not want me to mention him directly here, but
Yeah.
um he's building a pretty cool brand. Like he's got one of the magazines I actually just genuinely respect now from what's going on in contemporary lit. So yeah, like there are people who are willing to publish my stuff, yeah, which is nice. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the next novel. There's a press that really wants to take a look at it once I'm done. So I think we can work something out there, and then for the next poetry collection too.
Nice.
Hell yeah, dude. How'd you get hooked up with McBussy?
Funny story for that. So I was just on 4chan's lit board, um, and he had and lit. I've got my thoughts on it, but you guys go on there, right? I'm pretty sure you guys were
Yeah.
also. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Probably once in
We've
my
probably
life.
argued in threads over the years.
Oh no, yeah, I was just a lurker mainly.
Ah, gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, I tried
Um,
advertising on 4chan once. It didn't work out.
really, you did. You bought the ad
Yeah, I
there.
bought
The
the ads, and I think I got like just one comment on my Substack, and it was like complete gibberish. I don't know if it was like a bot or something. So I was like, oh well, this doesn't work. Nobody reads.
And then that one guy who like called
Yeah.
you out in our YouTube comments or whatever.
Oh yeah, dude, it was so weird. I forget exactly what he said, but he was like accusing me of like spamming 4chan. I only ran thread like ads like once. Like I
Yeah,
guess
yeah,
people take it really personal on 4chan for advertising for using it.
yeah. It's like, stop doing this. You're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's funny because they always want you to like the line is, buy an ad if you're trying to like promote your work, and then you buy an ad, they don't like that either. So
You're right. There's no win. You're like, look at this
yeah,
faggot who's trying to
Yeah.
like get my attention.
yeah, that board. I mean, I've talked about this. I can't remember where I talked about it last. Maybe it was Heavy Board or one of the more recent Book Club from Hell appearances, but the lit, like, I spent a lot of time on lit back in the day when I was like, 18, 19 and stuff. And I knew I wanted to be a writer, but it seemed like I was a bit like old school and I was kind of like almost like this curmudgeon when it came to lit. I didn't read any contemporary novels or poetry or anything. And I'm like, man, where are my people? And so I found lit. I'm like, holy shit, these guys are as miserable as I am about, the industry. Uh, so I felt a lot of like camaraderie with them, and I'm like, I'll eventually write a book that they like. These are my guys. Like, these are the guys I'm probably writing for.
Hmm.
And now you go on there, man. If you have any type of success, they fucking hate you.
It's so true.
Like shit. I mean, I've known some like really decent, like established writers who've posted on there, and they get shit on. I get shit on. Like it's just kind of
Hmm.
like what happens. I don't take it personally, but um.
But
I don't
yeah,
know, it sucks because a lot more could be done with that group, but
yeah. But you were telling us how you linked up with Big Pussy.
yeah, yeah, so they were on there. Max had posted a thread. He was soliciting work for what was it? The Ron DeSantis like whatever gay erotica contest he was doing. I'm like, holy shit, this is so stupid and weird. Like this this is my kind of like publisher, I guess. So, I looked him up, and it looked like he was just sort of getting going, but I knew that he was on lit, so he was okay with like complete retardation. Um, so I'm like, you know what? I've got another novel that I've just finished. It's like a bridge book. It's the Pound Flesh one. Like it's shorter, it's punchier, it's wild too, but it's something I need to put out while I sort of work on the next mega projects. And so I just, on a whim, kind of sent it to him. Didn't send it out to many other places, and he liked it. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, a brand like McBussy is the type of one that I want representing this book. So I'm like, let's do it. Why not? So we just signed it, and Yeah, now it's out with them. They're going to expand distribution soon and all that sort of stuff. There was some issue with the internal file or whatever for that. But yeah, no, that one came together really quickly and it was fun to work with him. And now he's expanding the brand and I'm glad to see it.
Did they give you any like major notes on the work or no?
No, that one I was pretty confident in. Like, FEMOID needed more notes and everything because it was such a big book. It was like 150,000 words at first. It was
Hmm.
fucking massive. So this one, actually, just going through the process with FEMOID made me a lot better at trimming down full novels. So that one came together like pretty fast. I'm sure if I had been with like a more established publisher, there would have been more thorough notes and stuff. But this was supposed to be just like an indie, a quicker novel, an indie one, a little rougher around the edges, a little wild. Um, and I was happy with the way it came out. So we just did the proofreading and all that sort of stuff and just went for it.
Sick.
Um. Oh, sorry, King. What were you gonna say something?
No, I just said sick.
Man, I need to read Pound Flesh still. And I'm going through FEMOID right now actually, but just reading because there's like I think like the first 20 pages of Pound Flesh are available for people to look at. Um, you can already tell like immediately looking at it that you again dedicated to a very like you kind of like rigorously dedicated yourself to, a total commitment to a singular aesthetic presentation of the internal workings of like these people that you're trying to capture. I'm pretty sure it's all in lowercase, right?
Yeah, there's only one capital letter in the whole thing, and it comes at the very end of the book,
That's
deliberately
insane.
so.
That's amazing. um so um you were kind of I think I saw somewhere that you said that Femoid and Pound Flesh kind of speak to each other in a way that you're kind of trying to kind of reach the same point, but in slightly different ways, or kind of going about it in a different route. Um, is the new project you're working on, is it also a continuation of those things that you're kind of expanding on with these, or is it a totally like departure from those?
Mm, it's in that wheelhouse, but I've gone to with the novel in particular, I'm about like, yeah, maybe just past the halfway point with that one. I I wanted to do different sort of shades almost of same issue, so to speak. This one is more of a continuation of Femoid, actually. Um, but let's say you're getting the male perspective now, different characters and everything, but you're kind of getting the male perspective of dealing with these BPD baddie freaks. Um,
Fuck yeah.
and you've got like Silly Boy by Peter Vack and stuff. Not that I've read it, 'cause, like,
It's
but
on my shelf. I haven't read it either.
yeah, and I think like just the oh, I fall in love with the e-girl and she's like so crazy and it's fun at first, but then it sucks because she's crazy thing. Like it's a bit played out, you know. I've lived through that too many times. I don't want to write another book like that.
Mhm.
So this is actually without giving away the central concept because I haven't seen anyone do this yet. It's more looking toward the future of that type of relationship.
Oh wow, okay.
Um, and yeah, I'll keep it under close wrap here, but um, yeah, I think I've got something with this one.
Oh yeah.
I'm like I have to get back to it. It was a bit painful to write it, actually, just based on the subject matter coming off of Femoid, but I think I'm in a place now where I can return to it. But, it it's yeah, it's time to sort of return to a bit of normalcy when it comes to this obsession with like goth girls and e-girls and shit. It's just completely out of hand right now in the online culture. Like most of these girls are not good people. It's like,
They're
like, they
freaks.
don't treat you well. Yeah.
They are freakazoids.
We need to lock them up in cages.
We do.
Yeah.
Leave them in a barn somewhere.
Straight up. And I like, that's not to say they're bad. It's just there's a real fascination with that archetype right now in literature, but that you can keep having people like Honor Levy just write about being insane and blah blah crazy and do 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 and it's okay, but I think it's time to kind of look at the other end of it and like almost the consequences of this. So
Mm.
that's what the next one is about, and God knows I've stored up enough personal experience with that sort of shit. I'm just ready to fucking move on.
That's interesting because from my perspective, maybe because I deal with more like right wing types, I feel like nobody has like done like a popular like e-girl yet, and they mostly write about trad wives, and I'm just like, oh, what, we get another sundress girl with like blonde hair and blue eyes. Not that, like there's anything wrong, but it's like seeing the same thing over and over. I'm just like, die. It's on the other end, at least for me.
Yeah, the trad wife like idealization, I I understand, and surprisingly, if you bring up even the idea of trad wives with women, they get really really upset, or at least one did with me recently. I didn't even fucking bring it up. I think it was just a reel we saw or something. They just like they can't conceive of why you would want a trad wife. I'm like, you can't? You you can't even get there?
Yeah.
Like, but that aside, the I don't know, like I'm seeing books like Silly Boy and stuff like that in my first book, and there's one I mentioned in the afterword by Sophie Kemp, Paradise Logic, um, which is absolutely insane. That one is better than Honor's book, I will say. Not that I've finished it. But like this, it's mostly women writing about these e-girl types and like how crazy they are, and they can't find love because they're so crazy, do their lives suck, nothing's ever their fault. But somehow they also acknowledge that everything's their fault, and it's just I don't know. It's this weird sort of like cognitive dissonance that they put to fiction.
Mhm.
Um, but in terms of I guess guys writing about getting over the fascination with that, I have not seen anything yet. So,
Yeah, that's true.
um, that's kind of where I'm headed.
Projecting into the natural escalation and conclusion of what those kind of relationships look like and maybe like what the cultural pillars propping up those relationships look like.
Yeah, yeah. Again, without giving away too much of it, that's sort of where I'm heading with it. Because that's to me unexplored territory for this whole movement, if you want to call it that.
Well, unless we have anything else to say, like this does kind of segue into Wuthering Heights about getting, entangled in e-girl. Do we want to talk about that now?
I do want to talk about that abomination of a fucking movie.
Let's just
God
Let's
go.
let's
Yeah.
damn it.
do it. Let's do a mini Rape Walker episode right here
Yeah.
on fucking Wuthering Heights.
Hell yeah. I'm game.
Yeah, let's do it, Aaron.
All right. Yeah.
Spill your
Tell us.
thoughts. You
Yeah.
were saying you and your situationship were laughing at it the whole time.
Yeah, man. Have you guys seen that film yet?
Yeah, I
No,
saw it on Valentine's Day with my Zoomette.
okay. I haven't watched
Oh,
it
yeah,
yet,
yeah, yeah.
so but yeah, you guys go on.
All right, I'm gonna like normally I'm like pretty like chill and all that sort of stuff, and I don't get like too excited about much because um this though like straight up fuck that movie. I hate that movie. Fuck Wuthering Heights. Um I went with this chick that I've been seeing off and on. We're not good for each other. But it's just I don't know, we just like spending time together. She's kind of I won't say too much about her, but she is I've mentioned her elsewhere, but she technically is like a DEI like officer in some respects and like
Oh,
all this. So ideologically, we are so different, it's not even funny. Um, which is why there's like near constant strife.
wow.
Um, but you
Front
know,
lines.
I like to pursue extremes, I guess.
Yeah, I get that.
And you
You're like,
know,
I can
like
suffer.
yeah, like you wanna I wanna see the full range of human experience, and I wanna get to know every type of person basically. And so I'm like, okay, I haven't been with this type of girl in a while. Like, let's see what this is all about. And it's half the time complete misery, and then other times it's great. But so I'm like, well, naturally, what type of movie do I take this girl to on Valentine's Day? Um, a movie about two people who basically just like, in some ways, just can't be together, but they somehow like each other and all that. So I'm like, okay, this will be fun. Um, yeah, fuck that movie. Like before I get into my experience with it, I want to hear about yours. How did it go for you?
Um, man, yeah. So I'm not like like some like Wuthering Heights, like aficionado or something. Like I read in high school. I barely remember it. You know, certain little things like stuck in my head, obviously, but going into it, I was just like, all right, this is just going to be some like psychotically like horny mess of a movie. Like I don't know if you saw Saltburn, but it was just like the just like the horniest bitch just like writing a fan fiction about gay dudes and and like that's all it was. It was just like it was hornier than anything any gay guy could actually write about male relationships. So I had a feeling that this was just going to be like absolutely ridiculous. Um, and there were a couple like directorial flourishes that I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. But for the most part, I was just like dying in my seat. I'm just
It,
laughing at the thing.
yeah, that's there was a lot of like uncomfortable laughter in the
Yeah.
theater. Um, at one point, I think the girl I was with there made some like comment like fairly loudly. And like a few people in our area were laughing because it was I can't remember what it was. There was some like pretty egregious scene that was like so on the nose. I think it was when the book is opened and there's like, a vagina basically or some vagina imagery and then there's like a
Yeah.
penis imagery or something. And I think she just like audibly groaned and then everyone was like sort of just chuckling and shit. Like that's the effect that the quote unquote like romantic aspects and erotic aspects of this film had on the audience in from my perspective. But
Well, it opens
like
with like a bunch of really confusing like sex and death imagery, which just totally was just for starting your movie right away with this like insane Ken Russell the Devil's imagery. It made the whole audience go, "Oh wait, what the fuck am I watching right now?"
the for people who haven't seen it, there's someone being hanged and he's erect. So the crowd is going, "Oh, look at him go!" And then, "Ha
He's
ha
got a
ha!
boner.
He's
Yeah.
got a boner!" Da, 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 and they're like jeering and all this sort of stuff. And I looked at her. I'm like, "Oh, it's gonna be a long 2 hours, isn't it?"
And he hangs and he makes an O face as he's dying. and
Yeah.
the O face can symbolically also be a whatchamacallit, an orifice. It's all it's all there for you. It's all Th- and that was also the funny thing. I was like, wait, am I watching like a fucking David Cronenberg movie or like you don't get that kind of strange sex and death overt sex and death juxtapositions like that in just like standard mainstream Hollywood movies. You find that like in like weird niche horror movies.
Yeah, they were definitely going for the whole Eros Thanatos dichotomy throughout all of this. Like Cringe, I know you haven't watched the movie. Have you read the book at all?
No, I am cultureless, as one would say. I never read Wuthering Heights. I've read like old shit like Charles Dickens, but I never got around like I guess the female writers or whatever. So
Wuthering Heights is like, and this is just my estimation from having done part of an undergraduate English degree with these types. It's like one of the female religious texts.
yeah,
Like, uh, it's not to disparage female writers, but it's basically like one of 5 female written books that matters.
Right.
And yeah, the girl that I took to Wuthering Heights is gonna hate that I said that, by the way. If she hears this, she's gonna, pout at me and all that sort of stuff for a while.
Oh, she's gonna hear
Um,
this.
I don't think I'm not telling her
If you
about
made
this
it this
one.
far, you deserve a fucking medal.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, we
Tear Zoomette.
She's gonna ring it up to
yeah, yeah.
HR as the DEI officer. She's gonna arrest you. It's over.
I know, right? I'm basically like someone she's hiding under the floorboards from the DEI police. I don't know why she's chosen to favor me, but um
Subject you to
it
10 hours of HR training videos.
oh yeah, she tries to reorient me all the time. But it's I'm indefatigable when it comes to this stuff as much as she would try. So um but yeah, so like love female authors by the way, the CSIS, my equivalent to the CIA. I love female authors. I have no bad opinions about women ever.
There's
Right.
I
no
wanna make that
gun
clear.
being held to my head right now.
I respect female written fiction. But yeah, so I mean, this is one of their religious texts. So I went on before I went to see the movie. I went on to one of the like subreddits for Wuthering Heights or whatever the fuck. So I wanted to see what people were saying about like the trailers. And oh man, it was like every girl was like, "I'm boycotting this. I can't stand that they're sexualizing this. There's no sexual sort of contact or whatever, and there's no actual sex in the book itself. So this is, they're corrupting our great story." I'm like, "Oh, so now you know how I feel about like 95% of the things you guys touch, but whatever." Um but so it's like, people just expressing like concern for how sexual it's gonna be and whatever, and everyone seemed kind of down on it. So I'm like, oh, this is so funny. This is definitely the movie. So I take her to the film, and she's dressed up nice. She looks great. We're having fun, and we choose the seats like way far in the back corner just so we can talk through it and whatever in case it's terrible. Um, We see the hanging scene and the erection. We just look at each other and we know what we're in for. So instead, we just sort of like fool around in the back of the theater for a while until we have to like actually pay attention again. And I'll say that the first half is better than the second half. The second half is where the wheels just fall right off the fucking train.
Yeah.
It's terrible. But like the Heathcliff stuff when he was a kid, and they're being berated and beaten by the father, and everything's really dreary, and it looks like a clearly fake set, but like whatever.
Right,
Uh,
right.
I Margot Robbie, I don't know what you thought about the casting here. We'll look past the Chinese like handmade in 19th century England.
Yeah,
Um,
I was like, that's not. I was like, what the fuck is that about?
Yeah,
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 the usual shenanigans, but
Yeah.
I didn't mind that. Like, that's the least of my worries at this point. So,
Right, right.
um, the first half is okay. You see Heathcliff and all that grow up. Margot Robbie, don't know what you thought about the casting there. Very weird that you got like a blonde bombshell doing this. I mean, she's obviously hot, but
He's like
odd
40
cast.
playing a 17-year-old.
Little weird, yeah.
Yeah.
Little uncanny, but um, Jacob Elordi basically just sitting there being tall and handsome, like fine, whatever, it makes sense. Um, I just like now I feel like I've repressed a lot of that film. 'Cause I like furious with it when I saw it at first, and we laughed about it for like an hour afterward. But I'm trying to pick out like the most egregious moments.
Dude,
I mean,
he asked the one chick if he has consent before he
oh yeah,
bro.
married
What?
him. I was like, "Oh god. Of course there's an asking for consent." Um
yeah.
yeah, I mean and yeah, all of the sexuality was very it was very like bureaucratically controlled in the way that the modern woman likes her sexuality presented. It's not like it's like it's got all these like stipulations that prevent it from being like almost too risque, even though it like dabbles in, it like flirts with it.
That was precisely my issue with the sexual component, and I mean, not to sound too much of an incel. I'm technically on record legally as having had sex, so I can't be claim to be too much of a
It's on the record, guys.
yeah. I promise I'm not a virgin. I promise, guys. Um, the fucking bondage scene, like, and the guy obviously because they don't want to like film the whole sex. He lasts like 30 seconds, by the way,
Yeah,
where
it's
he's just
so
gone.
fast. It's so funny. He like the second he starts fucking her, he's like, "All right, and I've come." Like it's just over immediately.
And
I
like Margot Robbie. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that yeah, I did kind of like to jump just a little bit ahead. I did kind of like the dog walking bit, but I mean
Oh God.
even her just like looking through the floorboards and like he's got his hand over her mouth like I will I'm protecting you from this, but I'm also subjecting you to the horniness of it. Like it was just it was just so absurd.
Well, I just don't know. I know it's because it has to go along with what this original story was. I actually just don't know why they didn't bang sooner. Like, there's really nothing keeping them from each other. They're both like extremely good looking. They obviously like each other. Um, you could just do it. Like, there's nothing stopping them. So I didn't really buy the fact that they were just like so attracted to each other, but then they just did nothing about it.
Right.
Um,
She's so compelled, you know, to keep it the way things are that she's, I'm just gonna go beat off behind a rock because that's,
this actually happens in the
I need
fucking
to like
movie.
I need to keep these sexual instincts in check. I can't act on them. I'm gonna go be And I'm like, as I was having, I was like, when did this happen in the book? When did Heathcliff Oh yeah, the scene where he, rounds the bend and sees fucking, and sees Catherine, fucking the bean. Like, does it happen?
Yeah, because straight up, I was telling the girl I was with, I'm like, look, if he came around the corner looking that handsome or whatever, and she's literally flicking her bean, like they would just have sex. They would just go, "Oh, clearly you're attracted to me. I'm attracted to you. You're already horny and stuff." Like, why don't I just take my cock out? Like that's basically
Wait,
all that would happen
wait,
in
so they
real
don't have
life.
sex? What the fuck?
They do later. They definitely do later. A
Yeah,
lot
but
of
I
things,
mean, like
but
at that moment, that sounds insane. Like literally insane.
Right.
yeah,
It's all about, control and, and being very I don't know. Yeah, it is funny how hyper conservative, like like millennial trash women are actually.
Are bitches just lying to me? Because this is what it feels like whenever I hear like the romanticy stuff or whatever. They're like, "Oh, this is female porn slut," and then like I'm reading the descriptions for them. I'm like, wait, they don't bang until like the last two chapters of the book. Like what? Are you guys just lying to me?
Right. It's all about it's all about the build up and the tension. It's not about the actual act of fucking. That's why there's
Yeah,
so many scenes in this movie of people like fingering egg yolk.
bro.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
just to give you like my perspective, like from the outside looking in, it's where I think the art design for the movie, from what I've seen, actually looks really good. I like a lot of their costume design and stuff like that. Listen to the soundtrack; it's a banger. But everybody who talks about it, like, oh, it's like so sexy or whatever, and like the other thing they were talking about, like people were bitching about, is like apparently Heathcliff is supposed to be like black or dark in the original book
Yeah, he's
or
like a
something.
smoky Latino or some shit in the
Yeah,
book.
and they're like, "Oh, it's racist that he's white now." So like everything I'm hearing from the outside in, it's like, okay, they add more sex, it's more racist. Like, oh, this sounds amazing, But
Yeah,
you
it
guys,
sounds way cooler.
yeah, but you guys are explaining to me now, like, actually, no, there's no sex, and like, it's like, oh fuck, no.
That reaction to like Heathcliff and stuff in particular reminds me of the meme of if our governments were importing nothing but like um cute Asian women and Latinas and thick Latinas, like women would form SS squads overnight here.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like I get so worked up about like Heathcliff being just like a dude with brown hair. Where he's supposed to be like Romani gypsy partially or something, or just like, a little swarthy, but not really. Like this is now just like something they'd burn down City Hall over. I'm like, you guys are fucking outrageous. You know how much like cultural degradation I have to put up with in my media every time I turn on the TV, and this is what you guys, this is the hill you want to die on. Like, get used to it.
Bro, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this was something I did post about where, like, I think you saw it too, Jesse, where it's like romanticy authors are like the most actually kind of conservative or racist, because like they just have like there's no BIPOC disabled like wheelchair guy in their like romanticy books or whatever. It's always like a 6 foot white billionaire with like a gajillion dollars and 8 pack abs. They don't.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it was funny because even in Echolalia, there's one story where it's like it's covered in like hand drawings to punctuate every sentence basically, and it
Hmm.
tells the story of like a ranch like a ranch hand girl who goes back to the farm and then is like smitten by like a giant ripped like orc. So
Yeah.
I I was like, yeah, that's like the female, like the sexual female psyche on full display. It's like I want my like I want to be seen as like a non-racist by dating my BIPOC orc, but I also want him to adhere to like traditional biological standards that I fetishize, which is like he's got to be jacked, he's got to be tall, he's got to look like a real man, but he's got I need my my brownie points by dating a different race, so he's a fucking orc with like a ponytail.
Yeah, that one, I wanted it to be where, like, no one noticed that he was an orc, but he's clearly, like, this gigantic bloodthirsty orc, and she's treating it as this is, like, a Hallmark film, and, they're gonna lead up to the final kiss and shit, like, there's there's a weird psychological, like, dissonance taking place within the most women now. Not all of them, certainly. I've met normal ones and everything, but yeah, like the Heathcliff stuff and like the shit that I've satirized, it kind of brings it back to the forefront where they um they want the brownie points or whatever. They want to be like in lockstep with everyone else on a lot of these issues, but then their own personal choices go against that, and so they end up
Yeah.
really unhappy with themselves. That's, I mean, part of the strife that I'm currently dealing with. Like, I'm a big bad meanie, apparently, but I'm not so bad to hang out with sometimes or whatever.
Hmm.
So, it's I don't know. They need to get their heads straight on this one. Like they just need to stop kind of uh punishing themselves ideologically with this stuff. Like it's okay, you're gonna like the gigantic orc or something, or you're gonna like Heathcliff or whatever, whether he's white or not. Like you're gonna find him hot. It's fine. Just go with it. That's what you're made to do. Like it's just you can't
Right, like
like
you
yeah,
don't
go
want to
ahead.
date a fucking, you don't want to date a soy boy who just like simps for you. You need a racist chud. you need some, jacked asshole. Like that's what's actually going to like correct your fucking female bullshit. Like that's what's going to help you, it's going to like correct all the, spiked cortisol levels that you've been doing to yourself by subjecting yourself to absolute falsehoods about your own wants and desires.
Yeah, and it's like, I always joke about, being a chud with her and stuff like that. Like, if you talk to me, you realize, I'm a pretty normal guy, but um it's just there's a middle ground to be found with sexuality now that I think if I'm being more serious, like um where, they just like really not everything needs to be sexualized. And if you're with someone who's like responsible and normal, like you can have a satisfying sex life and you don't need to politicize every aspect of the romance of your relationship. Not everything is like a contractual thing. Not everything's a matter of money and status and blah, 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 like they try to make it now. They've taken a lot of the fun out of romance by kind of like systematizing it and
Hmm.
relating it to a lot of the kind of the overarching political concerns and whatnot. Because I can't even tell you how many girls I've gone out with, and it'll be going great. A couple dates or something like that. We might hook up, we might not, and then like something activates within them where there's some sort of like you know um I don't know, just I either tell them about what I do, or they they like feel bad for dating someone like me or whatever it is, or they have like some sort of concern about you needing to be softer or you need to be this or
Hmm.
you need to be that. I'm not really sure, but you can only really just it sounds gay, but you can only just be yourself and be upfront with them. But, I'm keeping things intentionally vague, so I don't wanna make any of them upset from before, but, like, the, I don't know, there's just this really weird disconnect, and some of them will, like, contact me after who are, like, very clearly liberal and all this sort of stuff, and it wouldn't have worked because, like, I just knew it wasn't going to if they were gonna bring up political topics all the time and make things really uncomfortable when I just didn't wanna talk about any of that. They'll contact me after the fact. They'll, like, DM me or something after, like, months, and then they'll invite me out again. I'll be like, "How's this gonna go any differently?
Hmm.
What has changed about you that would think that make you think that this is gonna actually work?" Like, but I don't mean to go on about my dating life or anything like that, but, you know, it's just fucking, like,
Based.
it's oh,
This just
man, like,
proves that
it's just
women just shouldn't be able to vote or like make decisions. Like they're just thinking too hard. We got to repeal the 19th or whatever.
now that's a true chud statement, my friend. There you go, you're
It's for their own
that means
good.
you should get laid instantly.
No,
On our
yeah,
theory, you should get a girlfriend right away for saying that.
yeah, no, yeah, for sure. My mandatory state GF, mandated state GF. But
Yeah.
one thing that was brought up, like I heard discourse around the movie, I guess like from the Red Scale Girls or something, was that the movie is like anti-natalist because like the
Yeah.
kid dies in the end, and that's different from how it goes in the book. I don't know how like because at least in my opinion, I could see like if it's like a 2 hour movie, you might need to like cut storylines to like compress things, and I can see it from that angle. It makes the story smoother, but I don't actually know because I've never read the book or watched the movie. Like what your guys' opinions are on that, if you if you think the movie's anti-natalist or not.
Man, I did not remember if the baby I don't I have no fucking recollection, but now that you mentioned that, I'm like, wait a minute, maybe the kid did live. I think he has like a daughter or something in the book because of that, but I think she still dies in the book. But yeah, maybe she actually does give birth successfully even though she dies. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. Um, it is it. I did notice that they because the whole thing the book is a frame story, um, and they completely removed that frame story to focus solely on uh on like the fantasy element of it, the
Yeah,
the most sensational aspects of the book, obviously that got her off or whatever, but even removing a ton of context that comes before and after and just solely focusing on this one aspect so that she could have her own version of Titanic or Gone with the Wind or something.
Yeah, it's like they massively cut down the story and like, you know, Heathcliff going on to have a family of his own and like abusing them and shit. Like they're just not that's not even in that. The I mean almost all media is anti-natalist now.
true.
It's unfortunate unless you're watching Hallmark movies and stuff. But this one, I would say, yeah, I got the sense like I was uneasy watching this near the end. Like really, it's there's
Well,
cuck
there
shit, antinatalism,
that image of her
but
in the bed was pretty jarring, like a
yeah,
pretty, yeah, almost a destabilizing sort of an image. You're like, holy shit.
it it's an unsettling movie. It's like both disappointing and unsettling because I'm used to the antinatalist nonsense. You know, for us noticers, you know, it's everywhere. Um, but the like I guess we'll skip to the second part where everything just falls apart. So like for people who haven't watched it, I guess. They grow up, Heathcliff fucks off because Kathy just can't be honest about her feelings and calls him a bum and he's like, "All right, fuck you, see you later." Goes away for like 5 years or whatever, makes a man of himself, comes back, but she's married Linton. I always forget his name. Linton.
Like
He
that.
does nothing in the book, or sorry, in the movie. He just does nothing. Um,
He's just a
he's just
cuck.
filler. Yeah, he's just a cuck. He's just filler. He's just the loyal husband who has lots of money, and she doesn't actually like him at all, and whatever. Um, so Cuck Boy is just doing his thing, but then big, handsome, strapping, supposedly gypsy guy comes back and he's got like an earring, which I mean that made me laugh. But
Yeah, and the gold tooth, like he's a fucking pirate or something.
yeah, dude's looking like an oversized version of the Penguin here with his walking stick. Fucking like, hey, it's just like his It's like if you just turned the penguin into a complete Chad, you just um, but, so yeah, like, you've got Chadified Penguin, and he comes back, and now they, like he's mad because she burned him all those years ago, and she's married now, and he's like, people, I think, from watching this will actually just get over toxic relationships. They'll realize they're not that good because, like, all they do is just try to spite each other from that point on.
Hmm.
Like, it's just one-upping each other and, like, saying, like, kind of nasty things to each other, and then kind of just, like, doing things to make the other jealous.
And just being
But
like, "Isn't this eternal love?"
Just a terrible
right,
love.
it reminded me, have you guys watched Euphoria?
Yeah.
Oh, Christ, man. Oh, don't even get me started on
I watched the
Euphoria. That's
first
an
season.
oh, Cal's the only redeemable character, the gay dad, he's so fucking funny.
Oh, dude, yes. Wait,
Cal's
didn't
a
he just
fucking
die?
cute. Yeah, I was sad about that because Cal was so good in the show, and I was sad that he died in
Mhm.
real life. But Cal, I mean, Cal's the only redeemable character in that whole show because Rue is just a drug addict, the drug dealer guy who always goes, Rue, fuck, man, Rue, you can't do all those drugs, man. Like, there's that guy, there's Jacob Elordi's character who's just a complete, like, dunderhead psychopath, just a
Mhm.
fucking dumb Chad, like, retard who just will cheat on everything and just only like, he's a robot. Sydney Sweeney's character is like, who gives a shit? She's hot, but, like, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, but then, yeah, Cal, the gay dad, going through all this sort of stuff, whipping his cock out in the foyer of his house is just, like, it's just so funny. But, so, like, here, Jacob Elordi is almost the same as Euphoria Jacob Elordi,
Mhm.
but he can talk this time, and it gave me the same feeling, like, Euphoria is an intensely awful show to watch, it's so demoralizing.
Mhm.
It it's so incredibly demoralizing, it's the most demoralizing show I've ever watched, and this shared in that spirit.
Hmm.
Where nothing good lasts at all. Everything's always framed as something like just profoundly negative, or it's going to have negative implications. And it's gonna just gonna undermine your ability to trust a partner, um, and to believe in like traditional notions of love that aren't marred by eroticism and like wanton cuckoldry and stuff like that. Um, So, I mean, fuck this movie and Euphoria. I'm gonna go on record as saying that, but um, they just like they get together eventually. They can't hold off of each other. Then they just start banging all the time, which is like, yeah, hot people are gonna do that. That's fine. Um, but they like it just falls apart. I think the where it really jumped the shark and just went into like absolute demoralization territory was when they talk about killing the husband. They're in his house. They're having sex in his house. He's just
Oh,
around,
yeah. Yeah.
and he's just
He's
like,
like, "I'll
"Yeah, I'll
fucking kill
slit
him
his
for you."
throat, and yeah, like I'll drink his blood right now, and like all this shit." I'm like, "Okay." And then she goes, "Oh, but don't do that." He's like, "Why not?" She's like, "I'm with child." He's like, "Huh?" And she's like, "Yeah, yeah, it's not yours." And I shit you not, he goes something to the effect that, "Oh, well, you should have told me. That would have made me like it even more." And
Yeah, yeah.
oh,
It would've been hotter if I had known you were fucking pregnant with that cuck's baby, like, that's insane.
it was like bewildering. I looked at the girl I was with, and she's like, "I don't want to watch this anymore." Like I rarely do in theaters. Like I don't like put my hand or my head in my hand. Like There's only one other movie I've ever done that to where I've only walked out of one film in my entire fucking life, and it was that Amelia Perez one that another girl brought me to and didn't tell me what it was about, and it was like a trans story, and I'm like, "This is just uncomfortable.
Dude,
This
I
is
can't believe we got
weird."
dragged to that.
Yeah, it was like a film festival, and, like, the place was packed, and I just had to, like, go, "I'm gonna, answer some messages in the lobby." I'm like, "What the fuck did she just bring me to?" Like, I'm I'm understanding, and I'm media literate and all this sort of stuff, and I'm generally fair-minded, but that was just a gross movie. It was just really bad and offensive, but, um, so yeah, like, I look at this girl, I'm like, "Oh my god," I'm just like, my head is in my fucking hands after that scene, and she's, like, patting me on the back. She's like, "This is really bad."
Oh my
Oh.
god. The whole man, the whole Romeo and Juliet illusion was so ham-fisted and just
Mm.
so like put upon it. Just like the girl barely setting it up by just like rambling about the entire plot to Romeo and Juliet, just explaining the whole story and the thematics to you, and then us like getting it, verbatim in the actual plot and just being like, aren't we fucking clever? Aren't we so goddamn clever?
Yeah, that was very, very
Brutal.
obvious.
It's
Not
brutal.
exactly subtle stuff they're doing there. It's just, I mean, like from the point of the like weird like cuck fetish shit, I'm like, okay, this is so obviously now just like the millennial like erotica fanfic writers psychology where she wants the super handsome like buff guy to be okay with what the girl wants and like is totally fine that she also had to have the quote unquote beta provider in her life. And like he's just fine with it. Like, yeah, oh yeah, he like you sleep in a cross room and stuff. Like it's cool. Like you did what you had to do. And then the cuck guy just lets the fucking like brute come in and do whatever he wants all the time.
Yeah,
And
he's
it's like,
he's fully aware.
yeah, it's fucking nonsense. I'm like, eh, honestly, in most cases, the brute guy, as it were, gets told that and just like lashes out and hits her or something. Like, I don't
Mhm.
necessarily want to see that, but like he's just gonna go like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" and like front kick her and leave and just like never see her again. Um, so yeah, him being like so into her that he's okay with it is just like it's just delusion. Um,
Dude, and
and
the
the cuck.
fact that like the cuck like consoles him after her death, like they're like,
Oh,
oh, like we're on the same terms now, me and you. Like we both
ah,
loved one.
God. Yeah, I think like the girl I was with was actually just closing her eyes um during that shit. Like she had her hands over her eyes because she didn't want to watch it anymore because this stuff kept happening.
I mean,
And
listen, Jacob Elordi bought him the Nintendo Switch too. It was, they're brothers and they're bonded.
he was really enjoying Super Mario Odyssey, to be fair, so he couldn't necessarily pick up on all the sex they were having in his house, but
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was fucking livid by the end of this. I actually wanted her to die. It sounds like psychotic, but um, like I was telling the girl, I'm like, look, just please tell me she dies. Please tell me. Like these people can't go on like this. This is the worst. And yeah, she did die. She just like starves herself to death essentially because she can't be with Mr. Brute.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that was another really dark line where she just goes, "The
yeah,
baby's been dead for weeks." You're just like,
yeah,
"Fuck."
that. Oh man, that shit was gross. It's like I get mental illness and stuff like that, and she does the traditional equivalent of bed rotting and stuff. Like I understand it and I'm sympathetic to it, but the uh, like yeah, and the housemaid, attendant sort of fucking her over and all this sort of stuff, and she just wants to die. She wants to lose the baby.
Hmm.
And she can't be with Heathcliff anymore because they're just way too toxic. But she doesn't want to be with Cuckboy, so she chooses death. I'm like, man, if this is what contemporary dating is like to the female psyche, then it's really no surprise they're not wanting kids and they're always looking out the back door. But like, what the fuck was that?
Just
God
my
damn.
No, that's
my.
yeah. I'm sorry. Go, Jesse.
I was just gonna say it's my year of rest and relaxation with miscarriages.
Yeah, yeah, actually, just terrible, man.
That's all it is.
Uh, oh God, like when the movie finished, I think like there were a lot of people who were kind of just puzzled. Like it was like dead quiet. She's just died, and Heathcliff's like mourned her and all this sort of stuff and whatever else. But like everyone just seemed uncomfortable afterward. I know I see the memes of like all the seats wet and stuff. Like, no, dude. Like maybe those were tears, I guess, but like this, like no one's wet from this. They're
Mhm.
livid. They're angry. Their balls are tight because they're mad. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, their balls went in their body.
that's how we all feel about modern women, right? Our balls are tight, bro. They all chose suicide over because it's so funny. Like you put it, yeah, they can't live with Chad, but they can't live with Cuckboy either. So it's like that. It's like, yeah, no, that makes sense. Everything makes sense now.
It's like culture isn't offering any other option for women except except these two extremes.
Yeah, or
Look, you can
bear.
have a
yeah,
fucking cuck Indian or you can kill yourself. It's one of the two, okay?
They're into bears though. That's the next meta.
I just, oh man, I don't want people to go see this movie because it's really just bad for the psyche. I don't think it does any good. Read the book or don't watch the movie. But um, I don't know. I was pissed off. We talked about it for a while afterward. We went out and we had some fun. But like I think even for someone like her who's on a certain end of the political spectrum, she was grossed out. Um and I had my grievances with it. So that is my take on Wuthering Heights. I mean, I'd have to see like individual scenes again to like break down just how horrid they are, but
Hmm.
oh my God,
It's
man.
it's it's interesting that the DEI girl wasn't into it. Like you, like why do you think that is? Like because obviously like the director probably has those kind of like feelings, right? And she's like feminist, so she probably likes her own work. So like why would it like a DEI person not like? Is it too far? Like a branch too far with how you think the movie went?
Yeah, I'll say of this girl, um, I don't want to sound like I'm negative towards her. I actually like her a lot. And she's mostly sensible. Like there are a couple of blind spots that I've made her aware of and all this. But
Sure.
she I think if she hadn't grown up in this whole milieu, she would have been more traditional. Like she's very traditionally minded, but she's been psyoped a little bit. Um, so I think more traditionally minded women who are a little bit more on the perhaps chaste side, um, they view this as kind of like a perversion of what should be like honest and uplifting love. Like, even if you can't be with someone, if you care about them really deeply, that should be an honorable thing. It shouldn't lead to death and all this sort of stuff. So someone like her might um, prefer Pride and Prejudice a lot more just because of the kind of uplifting nature of that. So there are women on the quote unquote left who would view this as just too much. frankly.
Mhm.
And then, Chuddick types would obviously have their grievances. So I don't think it's satisfying either group.
Actually, that makes me think. Like Jesse, I don't know if she's comfortable. Like, did the Zoomette like the movie or?
Yeah, she did. She's a she's a normie, and she found it hot. So I got laid after.
Really?
Let's go.
Nice.
Aaron, did you get laid after? What happened?
Oh man, that was a fucking crazy Valentine's Day. And I would say I can't reveal too much, but um that I think we ended up fighting about something, and I mean that would have taken hours. So surprisingly, no. Um, yeah, no. Now that I remember, no. Surprisingly, after that one, no, we didn't. Normally, that's the best aspect of our relationship, but we were a bit pissed off
Yeah. So
after
if
that.
anything,
So
Wuthering Heights killed your any any chances you might have had.
yeah, we went from like basically just like going at it in the back of the theater at the beginning to like holding our heads in our hands at the end. So it was like a complete fucking boner killer. It was just not good for that at all.
Yeah,
Wild.
my girl's just normie enough to be like, "Oh, I want to be dog walked. That's great." Yeah, doesn't put any extra thought into it. That sounds. I'd like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whereas, yeah, the someone who's more, you know, actually like paying attention to like what the movies say would be like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what is happening? But
Yeah,
yeah, that's why I love her. She doesn't get hit by all the the waves of bullshit.
it's nice actually sometimes being with someone like that. You can sort of just stick to noticing and then they can just enjoy things and it's a nice sort of like you play off each other. So,
Right.
um yeah, sometimes it's what people like us need. So, that's good. I'm glad something actually erotic came out of that abomination.
Someone did. Someone did get laid out of all of this. We can attest to that. That there's some positive, gold at the end of the fucking rainbow that is, this abysmal goddamn movie.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you.
Oh yeah. And that's Rape Walker episode.
Yeah. Ray Walker episode 14.
Yeah.
Oh man. Um Yeah, fucking. So that was a blast. I had been building that up, waiting to talk about that for a minute too, because like who the fuck I saw it and I immediately was like, okay, who's gonna talk to me about this movie? Like, who do I talk to about this? Yeah.
Yeah. Got to talk
Yeah.
about Wuthering Heights and because it has taken over the cultural zeitgeist in a sense. Like everybody's talking about it. I guess it's like
Yeah,
2025's Barbie or whatever.
yeah, exactly. And
Mhm.
yeah, you could definitely make a lot of overlapping comparisons between those two, definitely.
No doubt. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw what they were going for. Um, it was just, man, fuck. I was exhausted from that fucking movie, man. Like, I'm assuming this is off the record here now. Um, yeah,
Well,
like we were. Are we
we're
still
still,
recording?
yeah, we're still
Yeah,
recording.
yeah, we're still
I'll
recording.
let I'll let you
I
know
thought
when
you
we're
signed
done.
off.
But
We can wrap it up if you want to
yeah,
get off
No,
yeah.
no, I thought you were. I thought you were like that's Rape
We'll,
Walker
let's
episode
let's
14. I'm like, oh, okay, that's the sign
No,
off. All right.
okay.
I was just checking.
Let's just. I will say though, one thing I wanted to mention. So my past favorite poet was E. Cummings, but
Yep.
after reading Echolalia, you're my number one now. So
yeah, definitely.
Aaron Bear, read his shit. It's fucking dope.
Yeah.
But
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's hard being a poet keeping it real. these
Yeah.
days, but I got a new collection coming out pretty soon. It'll probably be out later this year as well. But Echo, I'm making it free. If you want to read the digital version, and then the physical is still available through Amazon. And some weirdo review bombed me on it, saying you couldn't read the text, which makes no sense. So I'm annoyed by its current Amazon star rating, but it's on Goodreads and stuff as well, if you want to see how people are reacting to it. But and then FEMOID, yeah, FEMOID, the PDF is also available to read for free now too.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I'm King Cringe. Obviously, read my books, Hate Spreader on Amazon, Substack, all that good shit. Jesse.
Yep, Jesse Larkins. Read my book Soap Scum on Amazon. I do a live show on X, Rape Walker US. My last one, besides the last one that just happened 2 minutes ago, my last one was with Gabe from Tukey's Mag. We talked about American Pie for like 3 hours. So if that sounds fun to you, definitely go seek that out. It was a great time. And I mean, Aaron, you basically plugged all your shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's other shit of mine floating around out there, but I guess the most recent thing would be that these two, and then Pound Flesh, and then whatever I've got coming up next. That's where we're headed this year.
Yeah. Any last final words, Aaron?
My last words on this. Fuck Wuthering Heights. Fuck Euphoria, except for Cal because he's awesome. Watch it for Cal, actually. He's so cool. He's fucking love Cal. What else? Mm, yeah, peace and love and all of that sort of stuff. I'm not a chud. I love women's lit. In fact, huge fan, and all that good stuff people expect of me and that my professional life needs me to say. So yeah, that's my sign off.